What was your expectations for the Dolphins team heading into the season?
I loved all their additions to their roster, specifically Tyreek Hill. I think you get a game breaker like that, even though you have to give up a lot of draft capital, you do it. Mike McDaniel has joked that when Chris Greer, the GM, called him and was like, hey, we are considering doing this, he just said, do it. Whatever they want, ask for it, do it, you got to do it. And Tyreek has proven to be just that. Edmonds and Mostert, slowly coming along. The running game hasn't really been established quite yet, but I liked those. Cedric Wilson was pretty good in Dallas, slotted to be their 3. But yeah, the big question mark was Mike McDaniel, a head coach, a guy who never had been a head coach, a guy who had never called plays because he was under Kyle Shanahan, who called the plays in San Francisco. So McDaniel in the coaching cycle, you may recall, there was, as always, 7 or 8 jobs open. He didn't interview anywhere else. So he was sort of a wild card in the coaching hire and has a much different approach than Brian Flores, but has proven to be a perfect match so far with Tua.
Once the Dolphins made their offseason moves, the only question mark was Tua. Prior to the season, Tua had 27 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 4,467 yards passing, completing 64 and 68% of his passes in 2020 and 2021, respectively. How did you feel about Tua heading into the season as the Dolphins franchise quarterback?
That's a great question. And Tua is so polarizing, right? There's the Tua non-factor of people who love him, and then there's people who think he stinks. I would say I was lukewarm on Tua entering this season, despite the fact that he had really good numbers in terms of completion percentage and in winning. The guy has proven to be a winner, obviously in college and even in his brief career in the NFL. But I wouldn't say I was necessarily sold on him as a bona fide quarterback star. But now in this offense with Mike McDaniel, similar to what you saw in San Francisco, maybe the 49ers don't love Jimmy Garoppolo, but the offense is catered towards someone that if he's serviceable and accurate and gets the ball out quickly, they can succeed. So I think with McDaniel, with Hill and Waddle, and with the approach they have offensively, Tua can thrive. I don't think he's a guy that if you pluck him and put him somewhere on an average roster with an average team, he's going to lead them to an AFC championship or an NFC championship like an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady or a Pat Mahomes. But I think put in the right situation, which he's in now, he can thrive.
Yeah, because that was my biggest issue with Tua in the first few years of his career, Yianni. I didn't like the fact that in years prior, Brian Flores, he used to move Tua in and out of the lineup. There were times where Ryan Fitzpatrick would close games. And for me, that was telling because I'm like, does he not trust Tua in pivotal moments in games? So I had my questions about that. I actually like Brian Flores. I know he ended up getting fired. I don't believe he deserved to be fired, but I actually like Brian Flores. But I did think that the Miami Dolphins organization, they hit a home run hiring Mike McDaniel. They really, really did. And I like the way that McDaniel embraced Tua as soon as he got the job in Miami. And when it comes to Mike McDaniel overall, like you mentioned earlier, he's from that Kyle Shanahan, coaching staff. How do you feel about the job McDaniel has done so far? And what were your expectations heading into the season for the first-year head coach?
So when I talked to him and interviewed him the day he was introduced, I was like, because everyone says such a really, went to Yale, really bright guy, players love him, eccentric dude. All of those things are true. He's much different. He's very dry and sarcastic. He doesn't mind going back and forth with the media. He's not your traditional hard, yelling, strict, only football head coach. He's got, a personality to him, and he's slight in build. The question was always, all right, he's cool and he's funny and his players like him, but what happens when they have a 3-game losing streak and, crap hits the fan, so to speak? He hasn't been in that situation yet. But what I think he's done is earned the respect quickly of his players, and they really like him. I mean, Tua has said repeatedly, everything is different now. Now, it's no secret he and Brian Flores did not have a great relationship, but he says everything's different now. Even small things like the practice player of the day in training camp got to be the DJ the next day at practice. He would put on his playlist, things like that he's really had. Mike McDaniel makes players believe in themselves, and his whole thing is, I want to put you in positions to succeed, and the players appreciate that.